Everyone to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John King. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Please make sure you hit the like, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Share this link, help me to get it out there. That way new people can find me. And also, remember, we're completely viewer powered. If you'd like to donate and support to the channel, it is PayPal, Cash App, Facebook Messenger, and Patreon. It's patreon.com, Best Damn Podcast Official. So, first, before I get started on anything, I just kind of want to let everybody know tonight I've got a double header for this Sunday. So we're going to have two different videos. One will be public. We're going to be talking about mind control. That's going to start at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. For those who are interested, we're going to get into monarch mind control, trauma-based mind control, and just all the different forms of mind control, MK Ultra, the whole nine. And I feel like it's really, really relevant, especially, in today's climate, in today's world. I mean, look around you, everybody seems to be, gripped by something, whether it's, politics that has them by the balls, and they can't see past the two-party paradigm, and they're diehard fucking Trumpers, or they're diehard liberals, or whatever, or it's religion, and that's what's got them. And everybody that's, controlled by the religious paradigm seems to be, I used to think it was like all the politics that had people so fucking crazy, but if you start to really get into the religious scene and the spiritual scene, you'll see that that's a whole nother level, because that's what people believe is like their afterlife, gives their lives the meaning that it has. A lot of people do everything they do based on their religious beliefs, and when you got them all trapped in the different boxes of Christianity and all these other religions, it's really hard to get to somebody, and really hard to get them to see past, the programming, past the things that have really got a hold of them, because it starts early on. When we're kids, we're programmed by our parents, by school, by society at large, our parents' parents. This is like a generational thing. And there are so many different tactics. A lot of times you'll see a lot of content creators and YouTubers and shit like that. They'll focus on the mind control that's really obvious, like commercials and the propaganda on television, radios, shit like that. But you don't really see a lot of people talk about, the real serious shit that really shapes a person from the inside out. It's not just about making somebody do what you want them to do, right? That's a small version of brainwashing or mind control. But when you can shape an entire person's reality, and when you can make a person, their entire perception to the world, be in a different light than what it would be otherwise, that to me is a true powerful form of mind control. They do this now to people that post content and subject matter that they don't like online. So we have it in many different forms. A lot of it that we do experience is on social media, right? I feel like not too many people are as much about the television and the radio and shit like that as they used to be in past generations. But at the same time, the mind control is that much more powerful, because these algorithms basically put us in these echo chambers that reinforce these ideas, that we're being fed and propagated to basically solidify whatever ideology they're trying to pin us under. So tonight we're going to be talking about mind control, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we're going to be doing a private show after that on the learned protocols of the Elders of Zion. I don't know if you guys, I don't even know if I'm allowed to even say that on the public platforms, but if you guys, especially with what's going on in like Israel and Palestine and just all the things in the news with like Candace Owens and just all the shit that's happening now, I feel like it's it would be a good time to really go over those. And these come directly. I can kind of show you at least. You see, this is from FBI.gov. So I mean, this is pretty legit. So you can see that we're going to get into this, and this is about a global conspiracy of a small group of a particular people that have the designs on a world order to basically enslave the rest of humanity. And they don't see others as their equivalent. They believe they have a special soul, a special spark, they're a special being, right? They come straight from God. You guys will remember like the executive order from Donald Trump. I think it was like 2019. It was like an anti-Semitic executive order that basically didn't classify this people as either a race or a religion. And if anybody knows anything about this particular document and these belief systems, it plays right into this. They don't believe that they are a race or a religion. It's like something totally different, classified as its own special group, right? Because they are the seed of God. When you see this being propagated all through Christianity too. And I can't tell you how many different people say, Christians will be like, yeah, we can never go against Israel. Those are God's people, or, whatever, but little do they know that if we look at like the etymology of the words, and Israel means he who wrestles with God, we know that God actually means supreme magistrates, Elohim, supreme angels. So it's really he who wrestles with the angels, the principalities, powers, and dominions of this world. And if you look at the Geneva Bible, as opposed to the King James Bible, it talks about the governors of this world too. So I'm just saying, it literally mentions governments in a different translation. You can either take that or leave it, but it's those who wrestle against that, right? So it's not a political state or a government that we see over in the Middle East that was created in 1948 or whatever, so and they do say that their title and their deed to all the land and the countries around them is the Holy Bible, but we know that the Holy Bible was actually created through the Council of Nicaea, right? In the Roman Council, they put all that together, and a lot of the the books of Judah and all these other books that we consider Gnostic texts were all thrown out of the original canon. It was to maintain these four Gospels that basically deified Jesus and created this modern day religion that you call Christianity now. But remember, Jesus wasn't a Christian. There was no such thing then. Like people really tend to forget that. And so we're going to look at this. We're going to look at the protocols of the meetings of the Learned Elders of Zion tonight. That's going to be a private show. So that's for everybody who donates and supports in the month of March. If you have not, you can do that by going to paypal.me, the Best Damn Podcast, Cash App, Best Damn Podcast. Here if you're watching on Facebook, I'm doing this on a couple of Facebooks and YouTubes and Twitter. You can go through Facebook Messenger, Facebook.com, John King, Best Damn Podcast, or you can join us over on Patreon, Patreon.com, Best Damn Podcast Official. And like I said, tonight at 10 p.m., for the public, we'll be doing mind control, looking into all of the different, forms of mind control, monarch mind control in particular, and how they create them, and an entire society of slaves through these methods and through these tactics. And I almost fucking bet that if you do watch, that you will recognize a lot of the things that they do. I bet you will. I bet you'll see it, like, not just in commercials and shit like that. You'll see this in narcissistic people in your life. Like, people, we take on these things, like, whether we know it or not. It's wild. So, I hope everybody will join me. And it's like, for like the last few videos I've done, the satanic ritual abuse and, all of that, I would just say to people, like, when it comes to watching content, it's not always about what's so flashy and what makes you feel good. You know, sometimes you'll get so much more out of something, you know, when it does trigger you, because that shows you, like, inside, you know, if you have a conflict with hearing something, if what you truly believe is the truth, right? If your religion is the truth, if your political belief is the truth, and you're not some mind-controlled puppet, right? Then you shouldn't be so triggered by somebody saying something against that. Matter of fact, you should actually be able to, you know, have some type of truth of your own to counter that, of why what you believe is credible or truthful or valuable, right? It shouldn't get you all in your feelings to the point that, you know, you get all emotional and turn off the logical side of your brain, right? This is what creates fucking, you know, extremists and all of that. That's why and that's all we see in society today, you know, is extremists, right? And it's like, I'm not talking about the kind of extremists that they paint on, you know, TV, like ISIS and shit. I'm talking about people that polarize to one idea or another to the total extreme. And this can be, you know, people in conspiracies where they believe nothing is true or real or credible or anything, right? Like, that's an extreme. Or to people that, you know, are totally, you know, slaves of the system. You know, they're just total robots. They, anything the government says, they take it as absolute fact and believe they have no reason to lie to us about anything. This goes into religions. If the Bible said it, it's real, right? That's God's word. You know, like, these are forms of extremism, whether you believe that or not. You know, but when you lose the ability to critically think, to question, you know, that's what you have the danger of falling into. So, and I did say this earlier too, in a video. I don't even know if we're getting notifications or not. Hopefully we are. Yeah, so I did say this, like, you know, in a video, a couple of videos ago. March is really, I'm thinking about trying to create some new channels. I want some new ideas for videos too, so people put that in the comments. You know, it's really like we're at a place to where everything is so watered down now. Like, I watch a lot of content, or I try to watch as much content as I can. You know, and everything is so watered down now. It's like if anybody, you know, doesn't fit into the mold of what they want a spiritual person to be, then they don't consider that person to be spiritually credible. Or if someone doesn't, you know, placate to the Jesus narrative, then they must be evil. You know, it's like shit like that, you know. So it's really a hard niche now to really reach people in. I feel like we've gotten to the point to where people just don't care about the truth. You know, nobody really cares about improving themselves. They just care about improving their image. You know, so it's like, as long as they can get online and, you know, post their best pictures and show their best life and, you know, pretend to be whatever they aren't, then that's good enough for them. But when it comes to actually, like, learning, questioning our beliefs, questioning our reality, you know, questioning ourselves, you know, and trying to really, like, grow and create something better, you know, I feel like nobody's really truly about that. You know, we're in a weird place, and I feel like this happens probably, you know, when these ages and these cycles end, it probably happens every time, where you shift from one paradigm as we leave, like, the Piscean paradigm of religion and all of that in the age of water, to more of a Aquarian paradigm, which is like about collective and technology and, you know, stuff like that. It's more of a mental type of paradigm. So, you know, we're gonna go from more of a acting out of emotion, you know, as to finally being able to spiritually, you know, determine what's true and what's not. Having a lot more discernment as a people. And in order for some of that to happen for some, you know, like, quite honestly, like, You know, they gotta fall like flat on their fucking face. You know, they gotta have their beliefs blown up in their face. Like realities, you ever done something that wasn't good for you, or been with somebody that wasn't good for you, and you kind of knew it anyways? You know, you kind of could see the writing on the wall. You know, like this person wasn't good, or this situation or whatever you were doing wasn't that good for you, but you continued to do it, right? Maybe out of habit, maybe because you were comfortable, maybe because it felt good, whatever, right? But eventually, you know, in time, it catches up to you. Like, there's no denying, you know, all the signs are there, all the truth, the evidence is there, or you start to suffer, you know, as a result of what you believe or what you're doing, or, you know, and I think that's what's going to happen to society. That's what we're being forced into. You know, we're collectively being forced to falling flat on our fucking face when it comes to our political ideologies. Look at does anybody have a dog in the fight in the election in 2024? If you do, I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's not a good choice to me. I don't care if you're a Trump supporter or not. It's like, that guy is no good. No good. He's not for you, you know? And neither is Biden, you know? And it's like, we have to see, like, the two-party political system is a joke. It's a failure. And now I feel like we're getting to the point to where, like, it's going to be, like, maybe extremely detrimental. It already has been. But, I mean, maybe something even catastrophic happens as a result of this two-party system to make us finally change it and do something different. We know RFK don't have a fucking snowball's chance in hell, but I mean, you know, like, this is the system that we're in. Same thing with the religions, you know. We're gonna have to be shown that these religious beliefs are not only limiting us and are keeping us under a system of control, but you know, are dangerous and detrimental to our way of life, you know, our growth as a species, you know, and something, you know, if the wars in Israel and shit like that aren't enough evidence, you know, what religion can do, you know, I'm sure there's more to come, you know, that will force us to take a look at our own shit and say, yeah, this really isn't conducive to, you know, to our collective spiritual health. Same thing with the awareness and how we all turn a blind eye to everything, you know, and we do. We all turn a blind eye to everything. We look at what's convenient. You know, like if I even have your attention, I'll have it for a few minutes here on this video. Most people, if they don't see something shocking or, you know, to get their attention, you know, they'll tune right out, keep going. Like, oh, this guy's just talking that boring shit again, you know. Or, you know, the few who do listen and are concerned, you know, they listen, but then when they turn it off, they go back to, you know, whatever they were doing. You know, nobody's really willing to invest in anything, invest in themselves, or really apply change these days. So it's like, we're in a really weird spot. But I do feel like we are being forced to turn the corner, to grow. And at the end of these cycles, I think that's probably what always happens. I really do. So we have a major eclipse coming up soon. We're going to see what that all means. There's so many omens and shit with eclipses, you know, historically throughout time. You know, and what people really believed they meant. A lot of them, you know, they believed it was judgment on a nation. Which I've got some cool stuff on that. I should do a video on it. But it's like 9 cities named Nineveh, or 8 cities named Nineveh that are on that line, right? And you guys know about the whole, you know, Jonah and his warning of destruction and all that. So it's like really, there's some really prophetical high weirdness, strangeness going on with this eclipse, making the giant X over the United States. This started 7 years ago. With the Great American Eclipse, August 21st, 2017. You know, we know the last 7 years, wow. It's like, I can't even fucking recognize our world. I started this 7 years ago, and I can't even, maybe about 8, but I can't even recognize our world, now as opposed to then. People were so much more passionate, they were so much more giving, they were so much more loving, and it's like the internet age, the age of knowledge is like, knowledge has desensitized us to other people, to their needs. It's desensitized us to the truth. It's desensitized us to a lot. So it's like my hope for everybody is that they find something back within themselves, that makes them care about other people again, that makes them, care about our world again. I know that a lot of the new age, airy-fairy shit tells you that it's all about self-love. And I'm not saying don't love yourself. That's so important to love yourself. But self-love isn't withholding everything you have from others to prove that you love you. Some people feel good by giving. Some people feel good by helping. One thing beautiful that the religions were actually built on was service to others. And I still believe like that is so important to humanity. It's like if we was all serving one another, nobody would ever have a need anywhere. But because all of this self-help, self-love, self, as if we wasn't selfish and self-centered enough, that we now call awakening. It's not awakening. It's not. And that doesn't mean like there aren't people out there who weren't taken advantage of, that there weren't people out there who weren't abused and treated poorly by others and they allowed it to go on for too long, or allowed things like that to happen. That's definitely true. And in those situations, that's when self-love applies. But in order to make everything just revolve around you to the point that you are insensitive to everyone outside of yourself, that's evil is what it is. It's evil. And it's, and I think Jesus even said too, and this is like really basically what it boils down to. It's like, we're supposed to love everybody, love others, not just the people who love us, not just the people who are good to us, even the ones who aren't. That's what shows where you truly are spiritually, morally, and not to just do it for social media, when the camera's cut off or, all of that, that's when it actually shows. It's like, that's when it shows. Is when nobody sees. Like what are you doing to make another person's life better? Or to make another person's life easier? It could be just the smallest things, really could. And what are you doing to make our world a little better? We all feel like we're not important or like we have no impact, and that's the way they want you to feel. But the truth is, like, you're more important than you could ever imagine. It's only if you would embrace that and stop worrying about what everybody's doing for you, but what you can do for everyone else. So, I do want to thank everybody for joining me. Please, 10 p.m. tonight, Mind Control. And after that, we'll be doing a private show, The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. That'll be for the donors only. I want to ask everybody that sees this, please donate and support. I'm trying to get support this month so we can keep it going. This is how I pay for the multi-streaming and everything. So PayPal.me, The Best Damn Podcast, Cash App, Best Damn Podcast, Facebook, John King, Best Damn Podcast, or Patreon, Best Damn Podcast Official. The links are in the description. And to everybody who does give and support, thank you so much. Like I said, I think I may have posted this earlier, the, small donations, the patrons, the people who book readings, you have no idea just how much that, not only the little stuff, helps me and helps me be able to do this, but, it makes me feel appreciated and, you know, encourages me to keep going. And that's the shit I'm talking about. It's just like little shit. Like saying thank you to your mom for doing something nice, or your grandmother, or, you know, telling your son that you're proud of him, or just, it's like we just forget about doing the little shit, you know, and just being a little selfless, you know, so. Alright, I hope you guys will join me for the private show, and I hope I will see you at 10 p.m. tonight. I love all of you guys, and I will see you soon. Donate, support, like, share, subscribe.